Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here, and we're going to pick up on part two of this very important water issue. Now, everybody's saying to make sure you stay hydrated. Well, you don't stay hydrated by drinking a lot of water. Now, hydration has to do with the holding of water within your system, and your system changes that liquid water into a water that the body uses, which is not. Your body is full of liquids, not water. Part of that liquid is a water base. There's a big difference there. And the water within your body is quite different than the water that's in a stream or you drink. And again, most of that is useless. When they have trace people in many areas that did not have access to lake water or fresh water, these people were not hydrated. They rarely drank, even when they worked in sweaty conditions, because of what they ate. So if you're eating different foods and you're eating animals, etc., they are loaded with water. Everything on this planet is made of water, particularly if you consume it, whether that's a four-legged creature you murdered or whether you grabbed a vegetable out of the ground or a fruit or anything else. What do we make? What do we do with fruits? We make fruit juices from them. So there's loaded with what? Water. And of course, you take that in when you eat it, and it's better when you take it in a physical form. Water stays in the body because they have minerals in it. If you drink orange juice, not only what happens is you're getting a huge amount of fructose, which is really bad for you because your liver can't handle that. But what's included with orange juice is a whole bunch of minerals, which the body is able to hold the water from the orange because of the minerals, potassium, magnesium, all the stuff that everybody is pretty much deficient in. And of course, you have to look at your own system. I'm not making any medical statements here. Go to your doctor and figure all this out. We're talking general nutrition here and general informational area. Everybody's different, and you have to find out for yourself. But these are things that tend to be very deficient in. As a matter of fact, when it comes to potassium, it appears that huge amounts of potassium may have been in people's diets in the past. And of course, magnesium is needed for like 750 processes within the human biosystem, and most people are deficient in it. So drinking water is going to get you none of that. You get a couple of trace minerals and some sort of super expensive water, you're wasting your time. You want to make your distilled water and take I've even put in my distilled water, I get minerals that are liquid, and you can drop that in your water. They don't tend to taste good. You could take tablets or anything. I recommend everybody take liquids because it goes into your body better for any of your nutritional food supplements. So we have to keep that in mind. So when we get people that make all this stuff and saying you're charging water and you're doing it, it is just not true. People are getting into this tape labels on bottles nonsense. It doesn't work. You're not vibrating enough of the energy in there. Even when you're using what are kind of radionic code numbers, these are numbers that represent energy forms. Usually there are 9 of them. These don't work well unless they're amplified and projected properly. Taping a number onto a bottle is asinine. It's asinine. It's about time. Only thing that's happening is you're saying, well, this is going to cure me. Placebo, placebo. Did you get that, Bob? Yeah, placebo. Kick in the placebo. Yeah. Time to rule out the placebo. So the whole idea is you kick in the placebo and then you think something's happening. And this can be astonishingly powerful for a very small group of people. But as you said, there's at least 20% of people that will believe that something has happened positively. Now, how much of that can be proved physically, I have no idea. Was their harmony restored? We don't know. The bottom line, if it works for you, great. That's what life's all about. It's not what works for me. It's not what works for the chemical companies or some researcher down in some university. It's what works for you. Because it doesn't matter if it works for somebody else. If it doesn't work for you, it's valueless. That's what everything comes down to. But there are very strong guidelines of what alternative science is, what alternative energies are. This is not something that is mystical or made up. There are guidelines, of course, that none of these frauds want to do. So So the point is, if you're taping little signs or anything else on your water, you are wasting your time. Now, the discs I make have multi-numbers, multi-images, and a whole bunch of things in them, including frequencies that are in these discs to transfer this into the water. And as long as they're under the water jug, you're going to get it charging. If you charge the water, then take it with you, it's probably going to only stay in that water for about 6 hours at peak level. Probably 4, actually, now I think about it. But this is what you want to do, because generally when you drink something or make coffee, you're doing it right then. And you got to remember that, there's a lot of things that have water in it. So if you're drinking coffee and tea, like most people do, well, that's water, people. I hate to tell you that. Yo, drink 8 glasses of water and work your kidneys to the bones. This is nonsense. So most people are drinking all sorts of things. The problem is if you're drinking bad liquids, well, that's a health problem. If you're drinking sodas and stuff, which are terrible for you, if you're full of these fructoses and everything, even if you're drinking fruit juices, they're not really good for you. Fruit are good for you, but fruit juices, because they're compact, are really bad for you because you're getting huge amounts of fructose. Orange juice is one of those. I used to drink gallons of it, and I love it, but the point is it's not good for you. You're getting super amounts of sugar, and you're getting super amounts of fructose, and if you add that into a bad diet full of carbohydrates, you've got a problem. It's not the orange juice that's that bad for you, but it's all the other stuff, all the breads and all the other things that they've lied to you about, saying that this is good for you, when it isn't. So drinking lots of water and staying hydrated is nonsense. You're not going to stay hydrated. Matter of fact, there are certain conditions that people who drink too much water, and it's a psychotic position where somebody will drink and drink and drink, and it will kill you because all the minerals will start going out of your body to a certain degree, and you're going to have all sorts of problems. You're going to constantly urinate. You're going to have problems. So the whole idea is that there is this, and it can kill you. Now, so generally, and there are a lot of fasts that deal with the fact, and it was very common, particularly in the Asian traditions, to fast, not only not eating food, but not drinking anything. Now, this can be very beneficial, and of course, everybody's kind of scared of it, and I even don't like the idea of it personally, in terms of we've been brainwashed so much. But it does make sense for short periods of time. Again, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me, and we're talking about in general. You may have all sorts of problems, all sorts of conditions, and you need to consult a healthcare professional, whether it's a nutritionist or someone else, or your doctor, to find out if these things can work. Just don't stop drinking liquids because you hear some dude on the internet. But the point is, you generally, when you stop taking liquids in, your body must draw the fluids from what there's there, and particularly what happens is it opens up all the fat that's built up in you, because your fat is full of water and it's sucking out these liquids from it. So it can be very effective in a good fast, but you need to look into that, read about it, etc. I generally don't do this, but I'm not sure that you need to drink all the time. I've stopped drinking as much. I used to drink a lot, thinking I was doing something to it, and of course it becomes a habit. Your body then craves it. If you don't drink as much, after a week or so, you won't crave the liquids. So, again, like everything else built into the human species, it's really connected to kind of a strange reality of you becoming addicted to it, even if it's water. It sounds ridiculous, but people are addicted to everything. So if you drink a gallon of water a day, you're going to want a gallon of water every day. And your mind and your body is going to say, well, where's that gallon of water? Even if it's not good for you. So you can certainly cut down on that. And as I said, you are getting water in almost everything that you eat. And this is the good, pure water that your body takes in. If you have a hydration problem, you should talk to your doctor and healthcare professionals again. And the fact is, do you have enough minerals in your body? Because you need salt to hold that water in you. You need potassium, which is a type of salt. You need magnesium. These are all the things that a healthcare professional can tell you about to a degree. But the bottom line is that it's not the fact of if you're dehydrated, drink lots of water, because it's not going to happen. Why? You usually urinate out more water than you take in. So this is the reality to it. So it shows it's almost a dehydration process. And as I've mentioned, people weren't doing that. And don't think that we're necessarily living. We're living longer now, yes, to a degree. People are now commonly living into their 90s. They're not very well. But people, since the beginning of time, including Egyptian pharaohs, lived to be 86, 89. This has been recorded to a degree that it is an established fact. A lot of people have lived to be 89. I believe Daniel Boone did. You know, people in the olden days tended to die from bacterial infection. So if you cut yourself, if you're chopping wood and you badly injured yourself, this would turn into an infection and you would die from it. It wasn't from the fact that they weren't eating right or anything else. It amazes me that we claim that we're living longer now, yet our entire atmosphere is super toxic. All the foods we eat are super toxic. Yet we say that, oh, back then the life expectancy was only 34. It's amazing because they didn't have any pollution at that time. So, something to think about, huh? So the whole idea is that these are the realities. So it's a big lie with water is going to cure you. There were even some books out 10 or 15 years ago that talked about the water cure. This is, of course, bogus again. So maybe it was the fact of this water fasting, which is what the water cure is all about. You drink water and you're doing nothing else. So this kind of fast was what really was basically healing you. So people need to understand that. So drinking water all the time, carrying stuff around, drinking anything that came from plastic is all a problem. When you make your own distilled water, it goes from your sink, and you can even filter that with one of these primitive filters. You're pouring it into an aluminum distiller, and then that drips out through what is actually charcoal into a glass container. And of course, that's the way you get your pure water. Now you have to energize it through using a 7.8 frequency machine, and you can drop some crystals in there. You can put the discs underneath those jugs as well, and you're done. You're done with it. It's as simple as that. That's how you have pure, very energized water. And if you're a person who has a lot of garbage in their system and a lot of conflicting energies that stop you from creating harmony within your biofields, these type of things can have a major effects. Now, getting back to the effects now you're going to get at least 20 to 30% of the people that claim if something works for them, regardless of anything. And again, we know that this is the placebo effect and has been highly researched. So that means that any product that gets out to a lot of people out there, anybody who markets really well, is going to have at least that many people buying into it. And probably more because they're going to get the social pressure from the organization and everybody else. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on which skews what is really happening. So if you believe in it, it's going to work to a certain extent, but not only a small percentage are going to get, quote, cures. Most people are going to think it works for them with no proof. A lot of people are not sick at all. They're hypochondriacs. They think they're sick, etc. So we just don't know. There's a lot of people with serious mental problems, which are causing all sorts of things. So we never know. And of course, getting any kind of research done by anybody is very difficult because everybody is corrupt, no matter what side of the fence they're on. So they are telling you a bunch of lies, and some of these things are unbelievable. That people sit there and think they're Iron Man, that the Bible codes are what's working. They're selling their little crappy patches, making millions of dollars, and they're complete mental cases. And people support them, particularly people that are living off the proceeds of these crappy patches that this goofball was selling. Unbelievable, where his science is what he can find from old religious books, which really have no value whatsoever, particularly in the physical reality. If you want to take some comic book philosophy out of them, well, that's up to you. But we also have 7,000 years of religions that have achieved absolutely nothing. So the whole idea is it's a tried and true system of failure. But, humans love failure. That's why we keep rewarding people their failures. So that's how society works. Now, gee, I don't understand why things don't change. Why, you just hired the guy who couldn't do the job to begin with, and now he can't do it again. Well, we want to thank him for his service. So the whole idea is that this is how society works. And of course, nobody likes people like me who go out there and tell the truth that insults you. Oh, poor babies. So the whole idea is carrying a bottle of water with you like a goofball mental case and getting special little glasses, those stainless steel stuff, which has a lot of nickel in it, by the way. We're not sure if that's going to become the next toxic thing. But certainly we don't want to put anything in aluminum and all that stuff, which is 100% toxic. The best thing to put anything in is glass. The best thing. And one of the things that are highly toxic that you use probably every day is your coffee maker. One giant poison machine is what a coffee maker is. All plastic. But, or you could do what I did for years. Well, I've got a stainless steel gold-plated filter in there. Um, not even considering the fact that all that water is boiling in plastic, going through all these plastic hoses, and then going through that whole system and dropping it. Yeah, but where it's dropping through there. This is ridiculous. You need to get rid of your coffee makers. Get yourself a stainless steel gold-plated filter. Put that in a glass, basically jug or container, whatever, a pitcher, or a metal one, a stainless steel metal one, and then you pour your water through it, and that's how you get it. Simple as that. All those other things are toxic. That's just one of many things. We are now finding huge amounts of plastic in our brain. So this is going to be the coup de grace of this entire society as we move through into the final toxicities, as people are going to spend their money on stupid stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do to change it. Take your foods out of plastic. Don't cook in plastic. Put all your foods in glass containers. Very easy to do, and these are, glass is inert. It doesn't give off anything. That's what you want to do. You can even get glass containers now, which have bamboo lids, but generally, as long as food doesn't come in contact with a lid, it's not necessarily a problem. There's no safe plastic, and there are no safe plastic bottles or anything else. So, and of course, taking bad water that was in, because where are you getting this water you're putting in? I see people with these metal things. Well, what is in there? So the whole idea is what's in there is toxic plastic water. So start from the beginning and do that. You'll save a lot of money and you'll get the best stuff. And you can charge into that water pretty much any type of energy you want. But remember, these energies are not going to just shoot into you. The fact that you think that water, a charged water, is going to go in your body and then transfer that energy 100% to make a big difference in you is not true. We're talking about micro energy fields that do help in the bigger process, but they're not going to go in there and change anything. So anybody that tells you any of this doesn't know their science. And they have no proof of anything except Billy Joe Bobby from Hoopgal, Georgia, cured himself of sticking his head in an oven and turning it up to 100 because he used his sticker on water. Yeah, I used a sticker. I no longer stick my head in the oven and light my hair on fire. I kind of miss it, though. But the whole idea is that's the reality you're getting. These are all fake people making millions of dollars off of your suffering. Just like Mr. Patchboy, who thinks he's Iron Man and thinks that all the codes in these old stupid books do something. What an insult to all of us. And he bribed a lot of people. It's amazing how his organization seems to be filled with drug company people, or I should say ex-drug company employees. Very interesting. Look in these companies, find out the truth and who they're really doing. This is really shocking. But this is the reality. So we don't need all of that stuff. We don't need constant hydration or anything else. You are hydrated most of the time. If you're not, it's not because you're sweating or doing anything else. As I said, there's been studies of people and they're not hydrated. You couldn't get to that. But if you're out in a place, pure water is always difficult to find. But who's got the pure water? Well, that fruit that's popping off of that tree because he sucked it up from the earth and it was filtered naturally. It goes into that fruit, whatever it is, and now you've got pure water. So this is the way it works, or that animal or whatever that's going on there. That's the process, that's how it works. Hydration is a con game, and you don't need to be carrying stuff. As I said, it becomes a habit. Well, I got to drink. Yeah, because you basically, it's a drug now. It's turned into a drug addict. You're nothing but a drug addict. What are you hooked to? I'm hooked to water, man. And I'm getting shaky. I left my mug at home. It's been at least 10 minutes. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I don't have any water. This is the kind of crap you get out there. And of course, it's perpetrated by, high school gym teachers that run organizations. Yeah, I'm a high school gym teacher. I really know what's going on. A college professor. Yeah, well, the drug companies gave me $40 million for my research. Yes, I agree with everything they say. This is what you run into. So, find the source of gnosis and follow what they tell you. And I'm the only source out there that knows that and has reached this level. Keep following fools and you become a fool. Plain and simple. And we're now at a time where there's no holding back of this information and the facts. Follow your fools. Follow your. Now, Dr. Emoto, who has no credentials whatsoever, and I'm not sure how he's doing it, that film made him, I think, kind of rich and famous. His research is pretty bad in general. And thinking that water is so special is absurd. And to think that water is holding imprints of any sizable amount of energy that will affect anything. Now, listen to that. I'm going to repeat this. There are good energies, bad energies, and ineffective energies. Now, when I measure something, and I measure almost everything out there, and in my 50 years of research, I think I found 3 things that are effective in life in general. 3. So the whole idea is that I'm sure there's others, but I haven't found them yet. But everything I test turns out that it doesn't have enough energy to change anything. That's the key words here. Is it energetic enough to change a situation? Now, it may not be bad. I mean, this is typical. There's a lot of things out there that I test, and it has okay energy in it. It means it's positive energy. It's not counterclockwise or evil energy. There are a lot of things out there like that, like orgonite, and orgone in general seems to be very toxic. But orgonite is made from evil energies. It's an evil mixture. So the whole idea is that we have to understand that. But there are a lot of things out there that have okay energy in it. It's just very low. So, and I've done this a lot of times. You'll have energy that is positive, but it's on the scale from 1 to 10 of about a 2 or 3. It's going to take a 7 or 8 to have any effects to do anything. So a 2 or 3 doesn't mean that it's negative energy. It's just ineffective. And this is what most things are. There are some things that are just out and out bad for you, and people tell you it's good. And this can be easily checked. And anybody that has any kind of basic dowsing skills can pick this up. If you're using the right pendulums, if you understand how to do it, and it brought up your sensitivity, I mean, dowsing isn't that tough, but it still has to be done by a professional that knows what they're doing. So if you go in with preconceived ideas and you force your opinion on there, this is what happens with so many things that we have to be very careful of. So you need to have a professional. So you need to be able to go into something in a neutral state, and you're checking the energy. You don't care what the energy reads. You just want to know what it reads. But almost most things, I would say 80% of things, will come out positive. And 99% of things will come out as positive, but not enough energy to do anything. This is something that for years I overlooked. Well, how come it's not working? It's supposed to be good. Because it's not strong enough. So it's like anything. If you take certain supplements and you take too little of it, well, it's not going to do anything. But there's nothing, oh, it's good for you. It's good to take this. Yeah, but it's not enough of it to do anything. So basically, you're just wasting your time and money and getting no effects. And that's really where most things fall. And again, there are no legitimate sources from any side of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle are highly corrupt people, blackmailed. They persecute anybody who has anything different, and that means your so-called alternative colleagues. I'll be the first ones to turn on you and take the bribes from the criminals out there. And believe me, they're bought off, just like Harvard was bought off by the drug companies to demonize fat and to give holy water to sugar. It's holy sugar. So the whole idea is that that's exactly what we run into. And I hope people understand that at the highest level. So to find anybody that knows anything who is not, and of course you invent something, you research it, it probably works at that time, and you go along your life living off of that one discovery or that one information and never have anything else. And when it's found out that it's kind of ineffective and not very good, you don't drop it because you live off of it. So you spend your entire life in a lie. This lie turns into evil satanic control. So the bottom line is these people are really bad. So, and they're very corruptible. And these are the people that saying they're in the line. Yeah, I believe in the good stuff. Oh, them bad people at the chemical companies. You get the same thing from these bozos, and they're all corrupt, rotten people. And when you look back into their history of who they are and the con artists there are and who they're affiliated with, and you find out that these are all companies that have done absolutely nothing and are corrupt companies that have always been corrupt. And remember, when the corruptors out there start something and want you to buy their junk and toxins, they also start a company that says that's toxin, that you are producing junk. So they own both sides. Both sides of any issue are the same side. It just, that's how you always win. because you own everything. So you use one against the other, and then whatever prevails is what happens. This is why all different disinformation is given out both stories. Oh, yeah, it works. Oh, no, it's junk. They give you out both. So that means that half the people have the wrong information to begin with. So you could always go find that out from any issue. So these are the type of things we have to look at. So Emoto is an uncredited person who done nothing. He got publicity wrongfully from a movie, putting him in a particular light that was really unfair. Now, what he's done or not, and I don't care if the process works or not, it is not energetic enough to do anything. You think you can stop the spread of horrific toxic energies and causing disharmony within your biosystem by doing simple little things like this? If that's the case, we wouldn't have any sick people. It's just like the false claims made on supplements. Oh, this is going to drop your blood sugar down. Well, be careful. You're taking other medications and you take 2 drops of this cayenne pepper. Your blood sugar is going to go down, but you could die. You could die. This is the kind of crap you hear, and I read this all the time with supplements in general, that you have to be careful because it could drop. Now, there may be a percentage of people, a very tiny percentage, that this works so well on that they have a marked reaction to it. And like everything you take, whether it's natural or given to you by someone else, you have to be careful when you initially take it. What are the reactions you're getting? Because you never know how you'll react. But in general, this is complete nonsense, and I've tested all these things. This is going to knock down. This works just as good as the drug. Nonsense. Nobody would take it. Nobody takes the drugs. Everybody would use it. It's all nonsense. The fact is, this entire world is having major problems with blood sugars, and all these natural supplements that claim to bring your blood sugar down don't work. Plain and simple. If they do work, they bring it down with a very controlled diet. They can bring it down. Now, some people have claimed, because they're on a very strict diet and they already have very low blood pressure, I should say blood sugar, take these things and they tend to knock their sugar way down. This did happen to one individual who has his blood sugar under very tight control, took some of these supplements, and it did knock him down. So he's already low, and then he went down even lower. Well, this isn't good for you. You need blood sugar to survive, and that's the problem with sugar, is that you need it to survive. Everything you eat turns into sugar. If you ate rocks, it would turn into sugar because your body makes sugar. Your liver makes sugar, and I think other organs make it as well. So you have some people that may react in a very, is it favorable? I guess it is. But the average person is not going to take any of this stuff and get any results. I personally tried it. So this is the reality that we're all looking to. So don't be conned by either side. Remember, this is a challenge of life. You are here to learn, and the few that survive may ascend out of this prison camp. Very few will, because very few people ever get it. They don't support the big people, the good people. They don't support any of the good people. They support all the frauds. And if you can't tell who a fraud is, and you follow this scum and you believe their fantasies, then you have a problem. Like people that talk about radionics who are sick as dogs and say they can cure everything. Major writer does this. What a scumbucket. And of course, he supports all the Satanists out there as well. And of course, we won't support the good guys like me that do the real work. Of course not. You fraud. So the whole idea is these scum out there need to get their comeuppance. And the bottom line is that we have to start supporting people that have valid products, that have valid research behind it. And not because a movie said this or because a guy writes it in his book. We're going to have a much better system of following things. And this is one thing I'm going to be doing in the future, is I'm going to be testing all this stuff and see if we can get any kind of decent results at all. And I'm extremely fair, and I always like to give the product the benefit of the doubt. So if we can somehow, we want to make everything as to work in favor of the product that we can without rigging it. We're not going to make it work, but let's give it every opportunity. Point is that when you do that, it doesn't work. And I've done this with hundreds of products for now 50 years, and you can't, there's probably only 3 or 4 products and a couple of methods that have worked in all these years. It's not working. They're telling you nonsense. So, and new things come out all the time that make all these claims. We've got these new people with this new system. You sit in the room and it brings up your cellular energy to make you feel wonderful and to harmonize your entire bio. Does it work? We don't know. They're certainly making a lot of money off of it. So we'll see what happens. And of course, this is the problem with life. And the fact is, when you start making millions of dollars and you start living on your beach house, driving your Maserati, and getting the finest $50 an ounce caviar, you ain't going to give that up. You're not going to say, well, I really had good intentions, but it didn't work. You can snatch that caviar back, and now you're living in a box on the street. Well, you're not going to do that. You're not going to have any credibility. You're not going to have the courage to try and find answers. You're going to just basically defraud people, and that's what's going on. I frankly doubt anybody's got any proof of anything. With all these systems, it's all very vague, and of course, the law causes these problems as well. The fact is, you can't practice medicine without a license. Now, the problem is that this is all well and good because there's a reason for that. But when the system becomes so corrupt, the laws that were put in effect to keep people safe now keep people enslaved to a system that only cares about the generation of wealth, plain and simple. Well, I hope everybody's benefited from this. This is very important for you to understand this whole water fraud situation, how to make pure water, how to charge the water. It's all there, and this is readily available to you, and the cost of doing all this stuff is fairly small. But that's the way you make pure water. This is the way by charging it with that 7.8 frequency, which is considered to be one of the best frequencies for empowering life. The company that also makes that, who actually manufactures this particular frequency device, claims to have done a whole bunch of research on it, stating that this has shown to have great benefits. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe their research. The 7.8 frequency has been something that's been talked about for 60 years now. Bob Beck was one of the first people, a pretty credible guy, who run around the world testing people who had extreme abilities, and every one of them, whether they were voodoo men, whether they were psychic healers from Eastern Europe or Hunas from Hawaii, all went into 7.8 first. This is what people think is the reality of it. So the whole idea is that certainly this is an energy that empowers life, and something that has even claimed that NASA takes their astronauts and puts them in a field of 7.8 or 8 hertz, same thing, to make them feel better coming back from space, which doesn't have that energy there. Very interesting. There is something to this. It is not profound, but it is another piece of the puzzle. And when we assemble enough of that puzzle, it will be a kick-ass technology. But you don't, if you're using these harmonizing energies, you must amplify, and you must broadcast. You need strong energy going in, and that needs to be amplified and broadcast. Any other systems do not work. Wake up, people. The tech is here now. You just have to follow the right people, support them, and this kind of tech should go through the roof of its effectiveness and what's out there. Do not believe the fools and their garbage. Run away from anything that has orgone in it, or orgonite in particular is a toxic energy. Follow that. That was brought in to deliberately destroy and make people sick by a big-time Satanist who was involved in organized crime, and it was dealing with pedophile rings. That's the kind of energy that orgonite carries with it. And anybody that uses that deserves the results. Until next time.